Welcome everybody to the January 25th Commissioner meeting. We'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So we've approved the minutes from the January 11th meeting. We've approved the accounts payable vouchers and the payroll docket. I'll entertain a motion.
Make a motion to approve the minutes from January the 11th, accounts payable and the payroll dockets as submitted.
I second.
Any discussion? All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Dr. Kenny? Or is it that?
It is Keeney.
Keeney?
Yes.
Okay.
So I have for you all tonight a copy of your county report. So give me just 1 second, and I have one for staff as well. My name is Beth Keeney. I'm the President and Chief Executive of LifeSpring Health Systems. LifeSpring in Jefferson County is one of your 2 state-designated community mental health centers. Both us and Centerstone serve Jefferson County. As part of our designation as a CMHC here in Jefferson County, we receive a small portion of the tax base, and that tax base obligates us to do certain things within the city and provide, or within the county and provide certain services. Statutorily, we also send you every year a copy of what the services provided in Jefferson County are. And typically this is done through mail. You've probably received these in your office and at your house. We try to send them to a lot of places. They're also available on the internet through the state portal. And so I just wanted to highlight a few things for you and just come in person and talk for a few minutes about the services that LifeSpring provides. So LifeSpring has been a CMHC in Jefferson County for decades at this point. We see about between 1,000 and 1,500 patients a year at our office on Bear Street in Madison. And we do comprehensive behavioral health as well as substance use treatment across the lifespan. So we see some kiddos as young as 4 or 5 who may be starting down a path with some behavioral health issues, or maybe there are behavioral health issues in the home, all the way up through our geriatric patients who may also have behavioral health issues or new onset substance use disorder, that sort of thing. So we have a pretty big presence in Madison. We do a lot of services, a lot of community-based work. At some of our other locations, we serve 11 counties in southern Indiana, all right along the Ohio River. In some of our counties, we have comprehensive primary care as well, regardless of the ability to pay. And so we do vaccinations and well woman checks and just general preventative health care. And we are looking at some point to being able to bring that to Madison so that there is a safety net community health care provider here in Madison. We don't have any firm plans on that yet. It's just something that we're talking about. And so I wanted to give you the information so that you have it and answer any questions that you have. But just looking quickly through that, we saw 1,100 patients in 2023 from Jefferson County, primarily Medicaid patients. That's a pretty representative payer mix for us. Most of our patients are Medicaid, Medicare patients. We do have some commercial patients as well, but we tend to get our friends and neighbors and family members who are uninsured or underinsured, and that's we are the safety net for them, so they receive their services through us. You can see in the report there's quite a bit of community-based work in addition to the individual patient work. We saw 260 patients last year in Madison with a substance use disorder, primarily methamphetamine, and that's a trend that we're seeing across all of our areas where we're kind of moving from opiates to opiate use disorder to methamphetamine use disorder, or a combination of both. And then we also saw 750 adults and 319 children. Most of the children that we saw had attention deficit disorder, and most of the adults we saw had some form of generalized anxiety disorder. So I just said a lot of words, and I'm going to pause here to ask if you have any questions.
You've given us age ranges and some other things. Do you know where in Jefferson County they're coming from?
I don't have an analysis tonight that takes us down to the zip code track. That is something that we track, and I can provide to you if that's helpful or interesting. But we see patients in Jefferson County from a variety of places. Sometimes it's easier for them to get into Jefferson County than perhaps their home county. I do know that the vast majority of the patients we see in Jefferson County are Jefferson County residents.
That's fine. I just wonder if outside of the city, is there people able to use these services?
Yeah, so I'm happy to provide you with a zip code analysis. I don't have that with me today.
No, that's fine. I think we would be interested to see.
Yeah, great. So one other thing that we are doing now, the state is moving to a crisis response system that is really built on 3 pillars: someone to call, someone to respond, and a place to go. So often what happens when someone is experiencing a behavioral health or substance use crisis, law enforcement are called to respond, or that person ends up in the emergency room, and either of those may or may not be the appropriate response. So we have implemented a crisis response call center as well as a crisis response team. So 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, we have a clinical team on call that is ready to take crisis calls as well as respond to the location if that's necessary. Most of the time we can kind of diffuse those situations and work through those over the phone, but about 10 to 15% of the time we'll actually send a clinician as well as a peer support specialist out to the location where they can work with somebody to kind of figure out like what's the appropriate level of care. That service is also available to our friends in law enforcement for if they are on a scene and they don't know how to handle a situation. Oftentimes our friends in law enforcement have one of 2 options. They can take somebody to the hospital or they can take them to jail. And again, sometimes either one of those is the right response and sometimes neither of those is the right response. So we've got trained clinicians who are able to respond to those calls and to help them figure out like what's the next best thing here. We also in Jeffersonville, which I know is a good hour away, have a crisis stabilization unit where folks can come and stay with us for up to 24 hours while we press pause in a crisis and really figure out what do they need now. Do they need a place to dry out for 12 hours before they can get that treatment bed? Do they need somewhere to go and get away from conflict in their home just to kind of let the dust settle a little bit? So that's available to them as well. We are looking to put those strategically throughout our service area, which goes from Jefferson County to Spencer County up to Austin. So we really would like to have 3 of those units within our service area so we can receive people in a way that's convenient to them. But at this point, the closest one to where we are today is in Jeffersonville. So again, someone to call, someone to respond, and a place to go, and that's something that the state is moving to across the state.
So the place where they respond from is Jeffersonville as well?
No, the staff who respond are located throughout our service area, so we have Jefferson County responders here.
Okay.
If we needed to put someone in a place that was not a jail or not a hospital for up to 24 hours, that would be Jeffersonville.
Okay.
Any other questions that I can answer for you tonight? Okay, I've included my card on the front of your report. Please use that if I can be of service to you. If you have questions, if you have a resident that's calling and really doesn't know what to do, please call me and I will do whatever I can to help diffuse the situation. As your community mental health center, we feel like it's our responsibility to do whatever we can to serve the community health needs of Jefferson County, and so we're happy to do that, and I'm happy to be in service to you as well.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
No, you're fine. I was gonna let you finish and then I would ask you what you
So inspiring. Hello, how are you today? It's been a while. Let me get you the packets that I have. So just, it's a lot to cover, to update you guys on things the task force has been working on since, I guess I last saw you like November, December, something like that. It's been a while. So starting off with some unfortunate news, but, maybe it could be a possibility of it not being unfortunate. If you remember, March of 2021, SRPC was one of, I think at the time, like 100 or so recipients for the ACP outreach grant program, and that was in conjunction with the Affordable Connectivity Program, the benefit, so that people who were eligible for that benefit program could get a voucher to help them make internet more affordable. It was $30, and there was all the participating providers had different tiers that would correspond with that voucher. So internet could be free, it could be 50% off, or slightly less reduced than that. And then the outreach grant, which SRPC was awarded $500,000 to help spread awareness and with direct enrollment. Unfortunately, that program might be coming to an end because ACP is currently in the process of winding down. There are some efforts in Congress to try to extend the program, but as of right now, unless Congress votes to further fund it, I believe like another $7 billion, then the program's gonna end as of April and May. Or May, but more than likely April. They're gonna run out of money. This has been known for a little while, but unfortunately, it was not quite messaged that the program how fast exactly the program would have to cease. We were told, funds may run out in April. We weren't necessarily told that the outreach program would also have to stop that soon. So we're asking right now for support to reach out to our federal representatives. SRPC, we have drafted a letter to send to Senator Young as well as Representatives Pence and Houchin. So if you guys, I would love to add your name to that if you're okay. We have about 25 people throughout our SRPC region that also have endorsed that letter, just asking or urging senators and representatives to support the Extension Act that is been introduced but is not voted on. So hopefully if we urge them, maybe it will be the next round of votes. So if you guys would be all right with me adding your names to that letter, I'd appreciate it. Yeah, okay. Thank you, yes, because it is important. We do want this to continue.
A couple of us already signed.
I think I've sent.
Yeah, no, I think we signed
Yes,
already.
yeah.
So,
Oh, you did? Okay, great. Yeah, I wasn't sure if I had gotten your yes or no, so I just wanted to double check.
Sure,
Yeah,
no problem.
Brian did bring it to you.
Yeah, he would not leave it. No, I'm just
So, well, thank you. I appreciate that confirmation that we can add your name to that list. So that is, the unfortunate news with ACP, but you never know. It's not over till it's over. Should Congress vote to extend it at whatever point, then we would try to pick up the project and just continue. We had a great enrollment event. December? Yes. December was our first one. Yeah, the 18th, yeah, that's right. And kicked it off at the library. Unfortunately, the weather kind of dampened, I think, our attendance, but hey, we still got some people enrolled that day, and we learned a lot from that experience. We were ready to go, and then unfortunately, this announcement came down that we might have to stop as of February, so. But I just wanted you all to be aware of that, unfortunately, that great project might be coming to a close, but appreciate your support in trying to urge it to continue. And then at our last task force meeting, we had two representatives from Breaking Point Solution, which is a company that does mapping. They approached me actually towards the end of last year and just did a demo to kind of understand what it is that their product is, what they're offering that they can do for whoever their clients are. So we just wanted to present you guys with that information. Please understand that I'm not endorsing them or anything. It's just making you guys aware of an option when it comes to data and mapping, which of course is going to help make any applications that come out of Jefferson County in conjunction with whatever providers that you partner with. It'll make those applications potentially more competitive. So did you want to add some points, your impressions from that?
It's pretty impressive. I mean, they get down pretty granular level on the data. Still not sure if it's more than we need,
If you look through the packet where it starts after the whole notes page, there's some slides that her name is Nancy, I can't pronounce it.
That's a strange last name.
Yeah. It was like, it's an Italian last name and not one that I'm comfortable pronouncing. And Glenn Fishbein that demoed it for us. So this is just their basic information on what they provide. That very last page gives you a little screenshot of how granular the information. And like Brian was saying,
Yeah, it may be more than we need. And well, there's another possibility too that we can talk about in a minute.
Yeah.
But, they did offer, if you guys wanted to learn more about it, set up a demo for you, you know.
and it doesn't take long.
Yeah, it takes about 20 minutes or
Yeah.
so to go through it, but it's, I mean, they get very technical. It's a pretty neat thing they got.
It is. And Judy Smith had asked a really good question after the meeting we had with them of if it would be possible to overlay whatever data that they would provide with like what the EMA has already, for instance. And I asked them, and they said, it sounded like a yes. It was a very technical response. But he said that yes, they can add customer provider fiber routes. They can also add any kind of critical infrastructure, the latitude and the longitude of that if it's known. The only thing is that they would need the codes to tell them, what the infrastructure type is. If that was something that, were you guys to be impressed with the product, want to proceed with a contract with them, and then want to add in whatever EMA might already have, that it sounded like there would be a possibility. The pros of an option like Breaking Points is that, they do offer very, whatever level of support that you need, all the way from hand holding at every single step up to, if you have somebody that's a little bit more technically capable and they just need general guidance, they offer that level of support. So that's a bonus, of course, because all this data stuff is very complicated and can get a little overwhelming. So it would be whatever level of support, the county needs, hypothetically, should you go through with the contract. So any questions on that? Okay, all right. I can just, Brian, has their email, so at whatever point you guys are ready for a demo, you guys can set up that demo with them. And then I'm gonna go on the next one.
Yeah, sure. Okay, so, like everybody, we want to ask for money. So the task force, if there are some ARPA funds available, they've got a shelf life where they gotta be used up, we could use a few $100. I mean, we're not asking for anything substantial, we just need it for some marketing and awareness efforts. Like I say, put on here 500 to 1,000, I think that's plenty,
Yeah.
But yeah, we could use it for some things going forward, mostly around marketing.
Yeah.
So another part, since its inception, the task force, it came about as part of the Broadband Ready community, and it's been pretty much operating as like an ad hoc committee since then. I guess we're asking, what's our future look like? Is this something that we want to continue doing? Do we see a point down the road where we just want to dissolve it? Do you want to continue and us looking at these issues? If we are, as far as funding, do we get on the budget so we don't have to come back and ask every year, just for a little bit of funding for things? But yeah, just really, where do you want this to go? Or where do you see it going?
It would just be helpful for the members to have a little bit more definition around that. What do you guys think?
I mean, I think, we're not quite sure of all the possibilities, so maybe some ideas on what you feel the task force would continue to do would help us kind of see. I mean, I think we still have funds in ARP for not that, but more. So, I mean, are there things that we can be doing that would stimulate some interest or growth in other providers and other things that, like Breaking Point, things like that would be beneficial to, I mean, at the end of the day, I think a lot of these providers, it's gotta make economic sense, and a lot of times, unfortunately, when you get out, it's really hard. I mean, you go several thousand feet for one person, and that just, and then if you're dealing with Duke poles, you're like, it ain't worth it. So, I don't know, maybe that's something to think about. I don't know that, I hate to throw these out there, maybe we buy some poles that people can use. I don't know, I mean, what does it take for some of these providers to make it worthwhile? Cause I'm sure they're thinking, I don't really wanna go in and put my own poles in, but if the poles were,
If we had them.
they'll have to install them, obviously.
So
I
you're
don't
talking
think we're gonna
Kinda like SCI Data and REMC, where
Mhm.
they work together.
Yeah,
Okay.
so,
Alright, yeah, we can definitely look at that, because that is a point with all of them, you know.
yeah. And just, see what kind of finances that would require.
Okay, we need more than $500.
I understand that. Well, we have more than $500 in the line item in the ARP too, so.
Yeah.
Can't buy too many poles for that.
Well, no, you can buy a foot, I think, and the way they're going
Yeah.
now.
I mean, to your point, I feel like the task force could definitely be a extra, asset to the county during this whole process of all this
Yeah,
big funding and anything else that's
I don't think we have
going
to let it go on forever, I'm not,
Right,
but if you
yeah.
guys have some ideas, cause you've been around it and you know those things, let us know so we
on.
can,
Okay.
we can,
Would you want the task force to maybe put together a proposal on?
yeah, it'll be fine. I mean,
Okay,
if you
and
have
then
the
bring
things
it-
that you have noticed that where we can kind of focus our attention on, and
Okay,
I don't, and there's no sense checking every single possibility out there, cause I'm
Right.
sure you could go nuts that way, but, but still, there's some things that you've seen in your endeavors that make sense.
Okay.
Make sense of maybe a little more attention that we can, or focus that we can, maybe was meeting with these guys and finding out more, and
Yeah.
those guys that, I mean, you mentioned, I think, last time or time before,
Yeah, we haven't heard back from them, but.
there's guys like that maybe,
oh,
they're
yeah,
not the names that most people would think of, but at the same time, there's some smaller companies probably looking to kind of break into some of these things, cause their overhead's not as high, they find some ways financially that it would work for them,
exactly.
Okay.
so.
Okay. All right,
Sounds
so,
good.
yeah,
We'll
we'll
come up with something and get to you.
yeah, for
I mean,
sure.
it doesn't have to be next
Right, yeah.
meeting, but just take some time.
Okay.
That works, thank you.
Well, thank you guys, I mean, I know, once again, there's a lot of money being thrown at it, and you can, the government is great at just spending, but, let's look at some things that make sense to spend it on,
Yeah,
cause it is.
make sure that you're spending anything that's coming down that's available wisely and maximizing it, making the most, and that's certainly what we're trying to do, help guide the county on how best to go about, because, there is so much information and a lot of money, and just, you don't
And that's
want
the
to
other thing, I said polls, but maybe some of these funds and the ARP funds can be used as matching for
Yeah.
grants
And I feel like
things.
that is something that,
I mean,
might
you have to talk to
be
him
addressed
about
with the study to see those options. That's probably also, I think that was something that Breaking Points said that was one of the things they can offer. They can tell you down to the area which type of technology would actually be the best for that area. So
that'd
of
be
course
good.
everybody wants fiber, but if fiber is not the most feasible option financially or physically to put the infrastructure in, what does that model look like
Right.
to then do wireless or something? So
Mhm.
again, not endorsing them, just saying.
No,
like,
but those
are
kinds of
type
ideas,
ways, yeah.
those are, I mean, I've wondered, can you do that? Can you put a
Exactly.
wireless point out there, and is that better? It may not be,
They're usually wireless is like the Band-Aid, but it's also better than nothing for the areas that have nothing.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I think a lot of the things we want people to be able to do, they could do with wireless. They
Yeah.
may not be able to play many games, but,
Right.
if it needs
at least
getting
have
information
something.
back and forth off the internet.
Mhm. and it's usually more affordable than like satellite or something like that. So
Yeah, I think you can
Faster,
say, I don't think you need to say most times it is always more affordable than,
don't want to put down satellite because again, that's
Well,
something that when you have nothing, you'll
sure.
take satellite if you can get it. But yeah,
Yeah, that was a neat thing with the breaking point. You could pick an address and say, how much is it gonna cost us to run fiber here versus copper versus wireless, and to just show you all those options.
So I mean, is that something they would do a study like of the county and do that, or is that?
whatever area you pick, yes. They can, so that, I think that was part of their cost model was, you can do the whole county, it was gonna cost, and I don't think that they put the cost in.
I noticed that they didn't put the cost in there.
They would, when you do the demo with them, they would cover the cost,
yeah,
but I think
we'll
it
make
was
sure.
like 10,000 for a 2-year license. and then I think that there was like an extra fee for like per location. And so, or no,
I mean, and that makes, I mean, you know, we probably have a fairly good idea map-wise where it is and where it isn't, and maybe we look at those
Yeah.
areas and see what makes sense.
exactly, yeah, and that was what they're offering, like, if you wanna do the whole county, you can, if you wanna make it more granular to a specific area that you just don't have great data on already, then you can do that, and of course, that cost would be less than doing a whole county-wide one. So again, you'll learn more in the demo when you guys get that set up with them. But just wanted you to be aware of that option, cause it's a pretty cool one to learn about. Bead stuff, since we're talking about money, federal money and all that. So the Indiana Broadband Office, they're gonna be starting their challenge process on March 4th. So that's, of course, gonna be here before we know it. So communities in Indiana can help by having local governments or community anchor institutions like CertBC, like libraries, schools, etc., that help them with certain steps of this process. So the biggest part that like local governments and community anchor institutions would be the greatest help is some challenge submissions. So the state is actually going to, and we'll kind of get to that other option here in a minute, offer training for those eligible entities. They're not opening it up to everyone. You have to be like some level of government or some type of quasi-governmental like CertBC or a community anchor institution, probably like a public one, like the schools or something, something with that level of reach. And it will not be individual submissions like how the FCC's broadband map is. It's going to be those entities collecting that information, those challenges on behalf of the individuals of the public, and then submitting it to the state, who will then of course turn around and submit that to the federal government per their requirements. And they're doing that of course just for validity of data, just when you have the institutions that have a little bit more knowledgeable people and training on how to do that properly, then your data is more, it's harder for a provider to then come back and challenge that when you've collected it correctly. And then you also have the knowledge, the people on the ground that says like, yes, I can verify that's correct. So that is one way we'll be getting training. CertBC is gonna be doing it. It's called CostQuest. Which that's the next point. And if you guys want to also go through that, then of course I'll bring you that information. I was meeting with the IBO the other day and I forgot what date that they said that they would be having the webinar for that. It's coming up soon. But as soon as I have that information, of course I'll bring it to you all. And then if you all wanted to go through pursuing that license yourself, you can.
Yeah, just the cost quest, that's one we're talking about, that might be an alternative to the breaking point, but we really don't know. We saw what breaking point can offer, we haven't really seen what this cost quest, but it's free.
Yeah, and that's the pro with that, the big pro. Yeah.
I think we made our choice.
I know, so that's what it's like, would it be, obviously CostQuest would be the more cost effective, it's gonna be paid for, but it's also like, what is the level of support that comes with it?
It's gonna mirror the FCC stuff we already
Yeah,
have, they're telling us houses, their residences are served and they're not.
Yeah, I mean, if you look on the information about that, it says, where's that? I think that is after B, okay. I should have numbered these pages, I apologize. Oh yes, the part where it starts talking about cost plus and why do I need a fabric license. That part that's highlighted, and it essentially, when you get the license to this product that the NTIA is offering, it sounds like to me, it's giving you the same access to the data that the ISPs have. So we will be able to see every single broadband serviceable location that is registered for Jefferson County. And then when you get access to that license, you'll also have the addresses. So we would be able to, again, pick an area and see all the BSLs of serviceable locations in that area. And then with the license, be able to also see the addresses. And if you wanted to, have a campaign to go and test broadband speeds at those addresses, in those locations. You can start in your own neighborhoods if you know that you live somewhere that there's poor service or non-existence or whatever other part of the county that notoriously does not have good connections. So that's another way that it might do the same thing that Breaking Point Solution was offering. The only thing, this is the county would have to do more work on this end, but it's free, so another option. And the speed test, sorry to back up a little bit with BEAD. IBO wants people to start taking the speed test February 1st. So what we would need, the county, I know it's coming up. So that's why we, if you guys remember, I think like the first year or two that I was here, we did like a big speed test push with the old platform. We would probably have to do something like that again, only thing with a little bit more education on how to do this particular speed test. It's different, slightly more complicated than the last one, but of course it does
government
get better
system,
and
you
better. I know, right?
We don't make it easy for folks.
Right, not at all. We don't want to make it easy for folks to do this very vital thing that all of our broadband money is resting on. But that is why I'm trying to prepare educational materials as we speak. I've been working on that in the past few weeks, and when I get that out, if you guys can just push that out to, as a county, to every single outlet in your network, that we can get it in front of as many eyes as possible, get as many institutions within the county involved in it as possible, because that's going to be important so that people know how to do those tests properly to get that data. Because of course, as we know, the data is what is going to set the frame for any broadband funding.
How long's the window open?
It starts February, I think, through March. No, that's when they're starting. I think, when was that? It was like 60 days. So I think April would be when that finishes. Yeah, it's like a 60-day window. So April would be when that closes. So we'll have a good little while to do this. Everything will probably have a slow start, but the speed test push that Jefferson County did was really successful. I remember the count went from like 200 to like 800 or something like that over a course of a week. So that was pretty darn great, and I'm sure we could replicate that again, hopefully. Yeah, so I know this is a lot of information. Any questions on what we've discussed so far before we get to our last point? All right, our very last thing is the Digital Equity Plan. So yet another federal program. This is gonna have 3 phases to it. So the first 2 are what the state is currently working on or will be working on soon, and that is their planning grant, so that digital equity plan that they have out. That's that last 2 pages of your packet that outlines their plan. You can go online and read it and share your feedback on what you think is missing, what it should include if it doesn't. And that plan is what then the state will submit to the federal government that will outline is how they're going to be funding measures for digital inclusion. So that's going to be a good opportunity, of course, for the task force when that's outlined or when that's released to, try to whatever the guidelines are in that plan to try to improve digital inclusion for the county, fill in that digital divide gap. The last part of that whole funding is the competitive grant, and that is a great opportunity that's coming up in, I believe, 2025, that we could apply directly to the federal government for those funds. So I feel like, in my experience, just kind of understanding the federal government, having a task force is a plus in that measure, especially one that's been active as Jefferson County's is and has been making differences, however big or small, we hope, in our communities, that just already having that history established, that like, look what we've done with this task force with like little money now, however much money that they're gonna, when that is better outlined, how much more we could do with that. So we don't have to wait for the state to be the pass-through for that competitive grant, and that's a good thing. And the other 2 opportunities, of course, the state is the pass-through entity for that, and we're gonna try to comment to hopefully influence how they would, release those funds whenever they get them. Yeah, so any questions on that? No. All right, okay, that's all I have for for y'all on Friday, so did you have anything else?
I'm good.
We missed? Okay,
It's a lot of-
I know, it's a lot, it's a lot.
It's hard to keep all these programs straight.
I know. That's something I'm trying to figure out. We have a little project at SurfEC, is a Ready project that's dealing with broadband, and that I've been hearing that a lot. It's like, how do we keep all these grant programs straight? I don't know. I'm gonna try to figure out some little
Do you know anything about that?
No.
some little guide. So. Alrighty. Well, thank you, gentlemen,
Thank
for
you.
hearing us on that.
Thank you.
And then I'll stay up here because I gotta do some bids. Do you have? Is that what I'm looking
Yep.
for? Okay. Yes, I'm standing in for Patty. So. Oops. Don't fall. Yeah. Alright, are these what I need? Yes. Alright, those are just, you could take one pass down for me, thank you. Okay. So. Close this. There we go. Pardon?
You're asking for signatures, can you explain?
Oh, I'm so sorry. That is the sign-in sheet. We're about to go over some owner-occupied rehab bids for the county, their program, and that is just because you guys are members of the public and you're gonna hear what these bids are and what the county will approve. Just need to have your signature for that you're here.
Just another way the government keeps track of you, right?
Really, it's a volunteer worksheet. You just don't
Yes, we're actually going to secretly be setting you up.
Right. Run
To
water,
build the
dry
houses.
nails.
That's page 2, we have page 1 right here.
Okay, so conducting our final bid opening for our program, we have our first bid here. And, excuse me for being kind of slow. This is my first time doing this. Not sure which way is the front because they are both. Okay, looks like this one is First Choice Water, the contractor's name. Not sure that is what, yeah, First Choice Water. And for the work item, there's a roof where they're gonna be removing some shingles and other items, and they also have gutters and downspouts. So for the roof, that bid amount is $13,600.
What's the address on that? Is that
Oh, I'm
the
so sorry.
4606 West State Road 250?
Yes, 4606 West
Gotcha.
State Road 250, yes, you're correct. So that roof was 13,600. The gutters and downspouts were 2,000, which brings the total bid to 15,600. Okay. Our second one. Doesn't have a name on that boat. Our second one is Mike, not sure what his last name is.
Italian last name?
No. it looks like ST, it's either C or OHLIN. I am not sure.
Let's go with, what'd you think, ST? Let's go with an O.
I don't know.
See what,
I'm not sure.
I think it's like Stalin construction. Stalin.
So, okay, so is that an A? I have no idea, I can't tell.
is it an EH?
E-H. S-T-E-H-L-I-N maybe?
Yep.
STEH.
Mike Stalin?
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much, Sarah. Okay, so you said STEH? HLIN, okay. Mike Stalin. And this is the same property at 4606 West State Road 250. And that roof would be $13,020. So 13020. The gutters and downspouts would be $2,160, bringing that total to $15,180. Then our last one, this is Jackson Construction. And Jackson Construction has their roof estimate at $13,500. The gutters and downspouts at $2,283, making that total $15,783. So CRPC is asking that you make a motion to award the bid to the lowest contractor, which looks like that would be Mike Stalin at $15,180.
Okay. Wanna make a motion?
Yeah.
He's like, I know, you're looking at him and he's like,
I was waiting to see
I
if
know.
he'd take my cue and he just
He
ignored
just
me.
ignored
But
me.
anyway, I would make a motion, we award the contract to the lowest bidder of $15,180 to Mike Stalin.
I second.
Any other discussion? All those in favor signify by aye.
I'm not sure, do I leave this with you all, Sarah? Do I give them back?
I feel like they go back
They
quick.
go
I
back.
think Patty takes them back.
And not steal all of your.
Don't forget your sign-in sheet and stuff.
Oh, and Patty left me this note for a quick update. She says this is the last property that we'll be assisting with our program funds. We've assisted a total of 19 properties instead of 18, which is one more, of course, than what was originally proposed in the application. And so far, construction is completed on 7 of the homes, and several more are under construction right now. Any questions that you might want me to bring to her? Because I probably won't be able to answer it. Okay. All right. Thank you all
Thank
so
you.
much. Have a
She
good
doing
night.
okay?
Yes, she's hanging in there. She's as much as you can during this kind of time, so. Yeah, thank you all so much.
Thanks, Renisha.
Go ahead, Lindsay.
So I think you have 2 appointment cards in front of you. Okay. Those were approved in December. I just got a typo on them, so I just need signatures on those.
Okay.
I went ahead and changed the signature date too, because you get to sign them.
Okay.
And then, we're here to make fill our board. This is seat number 7. The mayor sent recommendations to you directly. And after we've looked through the requirements and the political affiliations that are required through Indiana code and just the criteria and what the board could use, the board's recommending Dr. Gail Spalding to be put on the board. That's up to you guys.
Yeah. Well, we thank you for that, but we're not, no. So entertain a motion
I make a
to appoint.
motion to appoint Gail Spalding.
Or second that motion.
Any other discussion? I think everybody's in agreement. All those in favor signify by aye. Aye. Need anything?
No. I give them to the state and to,
Oh, whoops,
sorry,
sorry.
and to Sarah. Alright, thanks guys.
Thank you. Everything else going on?
Yeah.
So, what about the earlier presentation? Anything that would be helpful, useful for you? The first one, sorry. Do you have much interaction with them?
Not a whole lot. We do sit on some of the same stuff, so they do attend some of the Healthy Community Initiative meetings. And I did go to, it's been a little bit, but I did go to the fatality review team that Scott County has, that we're going to be required to have here in Jefferson County right now. We do have one. The health department's not part of it, and it's a tri-county. I think it's up in Ripley County. But we're going to be required to have a suicide and overdose fatality review, a fetal infant fatality review, and a child fatality review team. And they sit on that in Scott County, and they do participate in the Healthy Communities Initiative substance abuse team, as well as the healthy lifestyles. So we do have some interactions. And it was really, they gave a small little presentation, talked about the crisis center that they put up in Jeffersonville. They gave us some details, and so we have some handouts and flyers for people when they come into the health department. They're still kind of figuring that out a little bit, but we are trying to make some efforts to figure out how we can better coordinate with some of these groups in our community over the next year, so we can implement them into our budget and see what we can do to work together in 2025. It's part of what we're hoping to steer stuff into when that funding goes up again in 2025.
And sometimes we have an idea what they do, but sometimes,
Yeah.
you know, it's better, maybe we find out that they do some things that, oh, never knew you did that, and that would be helpful, or.
I mean, we've talked to them a lot about different things. I've heard a
Okay.
lot from them, but usually it's substance abuse related. The clinic information was really, that was pretty cool.
Just another option. So.
Yeah, it is.
Okay,
Definitely something to discuss.
thanks.
Thank you.
And she leaves. Well. Do you wanna go first? You're standing up, everybody else is sitting down.
I like to stand up.
Well, that's all right, so we'll let you go ahead and go first, since you come in, and then we'll.
How are you this evening?
Good, okay.
Well, the first thing I gotta do is brag on my guys, because they got out there and seemed to do an extremely good job. We didn't have any major accidents that they reported to me anyway, so that was good. No, I'm just joking.
How many mailboxes they take? Oh, no.
I know of at least one, because I got that report directly to me. So, but I'm sure there might have been a few others, but no, they did really good. So it was good, because I talked with all of my foremen basically independently, and they all kept saying the same thing. I knew we had several new guys, so you never know how all that stuff's going to transpire. You try to prepare all that you can, but until game day hits, you really don't know what the outcome's going to be. You know you're going to deal with it and roll with the punches and figure it out on the go on part of it. That went really, really well, so I was very happy with them, and I told them I'd definitely pass that along. The first thing I'll address, I will follow up a little bit there on Deputy Pike. We all know, like we kind of discussed in the last meeting, that a lot of people want to get from point A to point B in a hurry, sometimes a lot faster than what that speed limit is. I did pull up the ordinance. The speed limit is 40 miles an hour, is what the ordinance says, from State Road 7 to 700 West, which is Thompson Road or Rector Road, just depending on which direction you go from that point. From there to State Road 3 or the rest of the road, it's 35 miles an hour. Most of the roads in Jefferson County are ordinanced at 35 miles per hour. unless it's listed in. Kudos to the person who takes care of that website that I was able to find that very, very easily and quickly, so thank you. I did send some of that information to Laura at LTAP and to see if we can do an engineering study to see if she has any other recommendations of things that we might be able to do to, I think the word that I've read in a lot of the emails, they like to call that traffic calming. I'm not going to be recommending any roundabouts on Deputy Pike, so don't even be getting excited about that. So,
Get big NDOT funding if we can.
yeah, I can do a lot of work on a lot of roads for that amount of money. And I'm always stretching a little bit further, it seems like. So as soon as I get a little bit more information on that, I'll bring that to you as well. I did follow up with Tom today. I did get him called today to kind of let him know, hey, I didn't forget about you. And this is where it's at, and we're trying to move forward. But those signs have been posted. I think there was a couple 35-mile-an-hour speed limit signs left to put up. I know that we did recognize some other warning signs in some curves and at the intersections that need to be posted, so they were getting those taken care of as well. So I really do appreciate him letting us know that the speed limit signs were missing, because we do try to cover a lot of those roads, but things do get missed, and when you're running the same roads a lot of times, multiple times, sometimes it's blurred, you don't catch every little thing. So.
Okay.
The last thing I wanted to bring to you, I want to recommend that we use Geo Specialties for an erosion control problem. I should have looked up my bridge number. I could have tied it to the bridge, but I didn't do that. But anyway, it's down on Wolf Run Road, near the address of 5114 East. It would consist of some hydraulic grout bag wall to stabilize the bank, and that'll basically just kind of help deflect some of the force of the creek as it hits that. And it will be anywhere from 3.5 feet tall with the grout bags and up to 6 feet high where needed to kind of tie that in and tie the slope back in. The cost for that project, I've got it memorized, but as soon as I say it, I'm wrong and I'd have to redo it. It's $49,825. Under the state procurement, as long as it's under $50,000, I don't technically have to request additional funds. It did come in less than what I anticipated. I would like to be able to get a move on that so we can try to be ahead of any of the spring rains that are going to be coming soon. We know they're going to come. So.
It's not white stuff.
I remember when we put those barricade the wall down there. We finished it up on a Friday, and that following Monday we had 7.2 inches of rain. And I thought, well, it's gone, but I drove down there and it was right at the top of it. But it's been a temporary, permanent fix, so I would make a motion we proceed with that project and get it taken care of before we lose the bridge wall.
I second.
Any other discussion? All those in favor signify by aye.
Thank you, gentlemen. That's all I have, unless you guys have any questions for me.
Just tell Jason Copeland, thank you. He got a call that Saturday morning at 4:30. You know how bad the weather was when we moved the inmates. He did the whole service road, the sidewalks and stuff. He backed up there and slung salt on those and even did the route. So everything went smoothly. So tell him thank you.
Very good. I will pass that along. Thank you, guys.
Trish?
Yes.
I was gonna make some Dairy Queen comment, but I had to
Well, like you all know, though, we've been out without water. We finally got it back yesterday. Praise Jesus. I walked in, heard it running, and we were all dancing through the halls to shut off the water, but.
So it was frozen, not broken?
Yeah,
No.
we never found out where it was frozen, or for that matter, I'm confused. I need somebody to come up there, though, to show me where the pipes are, so if this ever happens again, and I can tell somebody, here's where the pipe runs, or this whatever. Because at one point, we were told it went under Ivy Tech, and then it changed to it goes out the backyard. So I don't know for sure. I'm confused on it, but if I can I'll get with Jay and see if he can map me out a thing, just so I know.
Yeah.
And then, but with this rain that just came, I found out that my back wall on where the dogs are, the 2x6 that's holding the gutters on, has moved away from the building. So all my rain is coming in the building right at this moment. As soon as it clears up though, I do have somebody that's gonna come up, and I don't think he isn't gonna charge us anything. He's just gonna do it. Pack that 2x6 back in and reinstall the gutters.
Thank goodness it's 50 something rather than
Yeah.
33
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
raining.
or 9.
Yeah.
And then while we were without water, I asked the public to help us with fostering dogs because it was really hard. And just out of that, we wound up with 4 foster fails. So we had 4 adoptions thanks to this water shortage.
Well, you have to try that again. We'll find out what the
Yes,
valve
I
is so we
know.
can
It's
shut it
like,
off and
what
say,
do
hey.
we turn off next?
Oh, our water's off again. Oh, well, you coming?
We have no electricity. But,
Well, good.
and then we've been having a lot of, like drug arrest or arrest where there's been animals involved. And I'm just wanting to sit down, I don't know if I need to sit down with you guys or if I need to go to the prosecutor, but just to come up with a better guidelines of how to inform the people, you know, hey, you need to bond your animal if you want to keep it, relinquish it, or in so many days, I've got to be able to, you know, send them to rescue, adopt them or whatever. I can't keep them forever.
Yeah.
And then just establish a fee guideline to go along with that, because the old ones don't really make sense. They used to be in place with the way things are going now. Just, is that something we need to do, just to get some guidelines?
You have some existing guidelines, we just wanna update them.
Yeah, update them,
Yeah,
because
we
they
probably
don't
oughta-
make sense anymore.
Yeah, maybe we can sit down and look through them if you think that would be helpful, or if you think it would be, I think either way is fine.
Well,
Should we talk to the judges about it? They're the ones that ultimately make the call. right?
well, in our laws that I've looked up, they're supposed to, when an animal's impounded, the person being arrested is supposed to set up a bond. And it's established through the court for X amount, whatever X amount of money we decide. And that keeps the animals fed, taken care of, and so on and so forth while they're at the shelter. And I think it was established like $200 bond, and that gives them 10 days. And then they have to, you know, redo the bond. I don't think we quite need that much money, but if we do get an animal in that's sick, like, we just had a case where the animal was abused, and so the charges was not only those charges, but animal cruelty got put on it. So, you know, the shelter spends X amount of money to help that dog get from here to there, but then if owner gets the animal back for some reason at the end of this, how does the shelter recoup that money? That's more or less, or do we not? You know, is it just something that we eat? And that's something where I want a better guidance on how we do like those rules. And that's just about it.
Yeah. Let's, you think?
I think that'd be a good place to start, because I think ultimately the judge rules whether
Well, yeah, and
they have to forfeit the dog or the dog goes back. And like in that case, if it's been abused, it seems criminal to me to put it back in that same atmosphere, so.
yeah, and it's the same to me, but sometimes they do,
But
it
I'm
does
not the
get
judge,
dismissed,
so.
right? And I think we might need to bring in like the sheriff's department and the police department, just so that when they're doing the arrest, I can have them tell these people, okay, you need to get a bond, you need to do this, instead of, well, did they get towed, or do I know if they got towed? Because I called the jailer and I don't know if it actually got relayed to the person or not.
Good idea.
But just to have a little more, I guess, schooling in that area for the officers as well. Probably need a prosecutor in on it.
Do they call the animal control in a case like that?
Yeah.
So he's always involved?
Yeah, but sometimes the person is already
Gone?
moved from the
Okay.
scene before animal control gets
Okay.
there to get the animal, so
Okay.
I can't.
Sure, I was thinking that might be a way, but yeah.
Yeah,
Doesn't
I
sound
mean,
like it's not
we used to have like an old impoundment form that we had the officers carry with them. Sometimes they got filled out, sometimes they didn't, just depended on like the situation that, but I would like for something maybe like that also at the jail, so that the jailer, you know, like here's about your dog or cat or whatever, just
So
better
maybe
guidelines.
updating that's a good start too, and then maybe, I don't know if we talk to the judges or Pat or somebody to how do we, can we put that, if the animal needs medical attention, that's not something the shelter has to pay for, it's something that.
Well, you remember Gertie, she was with us for 7 months, and she wound up with Cushing's disease while she was at the shelter. She went blind and all these other things, and we had a lot of money invested in her. And she was released right back to her owner, and we got $15 reclaim fee, because that was all that is in our, like,
Sure.
set down rules. And she was there for, all of.
But she had a good 7 months.
Yes, she did, yes, she did.
I mean,
Spoiled her rotten.
Yeah, but anyway.
Like right now, I've got 2 pit bulls, a chihuahua, a
what?
bearded dragon, and a little, some small mixed breed that is not, most of them are not in good condition, but they're all there from arrest. And so, we're getting full on space on just holding them.
5 last weekend, didn't
Yeah.
you? Yeah. Yeah.
Do you know if other shelters have similar provisions, or?
Yeah, and most of them, they tell me about that bond, and then they're trying to tell me there's a new thing that's coming before Indiana, the state. I can't remember what law they're trying to pass, where it's mandatory that all funding be, like, given to the shelter ahead of time. But I haven't looked into it enough to really know a lot about it yet.
Well, maybe if these other shelters have these kind of guidelines already, maybe that's another good form to get, so we can see what's,
Yeah,
because I'm sure they may reference some
Yeah, I think
Indiana
Ripley,
code.
it's 5 days. If they don't hear anything from, then they just put the animal up for adoption or whatever, and just go with it like that. And before, see, we were just 3 days, and once we told the person, you either need to find somebody to come reclaim your animal, or put money down for us to keep your animal until you get out, or 3 days they go up for adoption, and it's just, it's basically the fees is more or less what I'm worried about, of how it goes about, because like with Gertie, we lost a lot of money.
See if they have anything in their form about the medical,
Okay,
and we
I'll see what
can
they
talk to
send me,
Pat
what
and
they
see
got. Yeah.
if he can search it. But if they've already got it in the form, that would be far easier. We can give it to him, let him check it out, and make sure everything's okay with it, but.
Yeah, I'll get something together, and I just want to thank you for rushing up there when we didn't have the water and helping me out.
I'm just
figuring
glad we
all
got
that stuff
some.
out. Yeah.
It was primitive, but it works. That's all
We
that
didn't
mattered.
We missed out on the hot water. We all were froze since we didn't have hot water, but we had water after it
That's
was
the
all
main
said and
thing.
done. Yeah.
But thank you too.
Thank you.
Grant, no. Go ahead.
I'll be quick, and I don't wanna ask for money.
Oh.
Ask for extras.
That's for money either.
So we're about to wrap up this energy grant. I'm waiting on just a bid so we can kind of give some kind of an idea to the budget for this thing to get submitted before the end of the month. It's due February 2nd, so we got plenty of time to get squared away. And they went out to take a look at this, the county highway garage. I'm not sure that, I don't know if they came to the animal shelter or not. I'll check with Bumper to find out. I've been meaning to call you about it anyway, just haven't had a chance to do that yet, so sorry about that. But
That's okay.
today I got an email from the IntelliGrants, our IntelliGrants rep. The EMPG grant letters were supposed to go out sometime either today or sometime tomorrow before the week's end. Eclipse planning continues. It's this hot button topic all that bit. So I think it's gonna plague us for a while, but probably a good thing that we're planning for this stuff. Had a great planning session for an overall countywide communications plan with IPSC last week, and so I think that's the plan we have seems pretty solid. The biggest issue we have is that there like 5 people can talk on the radio at one time, right? So that's shared between police, fire, city, county, the state highway department, and I think maybe you guys have a couple of 800 radios and us. So that's more than 5 if somebody talks. So with the way things are spread out, all that stuff across the county, it'll be difficult to hit towers all that bit, and so we'll get a lot of busy signals. And there's even a lot of people that outside of our county that hit those towers as well. The trunk system all leans into itself. So, and depending on how that hits, then there's even more people tacking onto that. So, it'll be a little bit of a challenge, and I think some people learn some radio system stuff like that. Like I said, I had a chance to meet with the city police chief yet, or the city fire chief, or I'll meet with county fire tomorrow, Monday night, sorry. And not talking with the sheriff yet either, but we're making some headway there. Got a good plan to present to him and talk to him a little bit.
Would the Starlink system help any in that case, or?
Well, they're coming out with radios now that they call it an LMR program, where we can it links into like Wi-Fi signals and/or like your car that has a cradle point and something like that to help improve radio signal across the county anyway. But unfortunately, we don't have the technology at the moment to do it, and so the answer, the short answer is no,
Okay.
and the long answer is sometime in the future it will be, and which brings me to the point is that at some point we'll be switching to this phase 2. I'm meeting with Harris Radio tomorrow for portable radio support, and then talk about their products to see what they're offering and all that bit. I think the big hitters right now I know that works well is Motorola. I don't think Kenwood has got that out yet. I'm trying to think if it's Tate maybe, but I think Tate radios maybe. I think they've got the LMR program that's coming out. And on the reverse side of that is FirstNet and Verizon, AT&T and Verizon both offer a backside to that where you can use your basically your phone as a radio across that system as well. So not only does it work with the radio, but it can work with your phone if you get the right signal coverage and the right plan. So a couple of options out there that are much different than our traditional, what we haven't been using for a long time in the past. But a lot of pretty neat things coming down the pike, as long as you got internet service or radio service. I got a call from our National Weather Service rep, and he reminded me that it's the 50th anniversary for the tornado. And so I'll also remind you that on top of that that's the same month that the eclipse is going to begin. And then I'll also say that I hope that this is not an indicator, and I don't want to speak any ill will or speak something into existence. It's not yet, but I will say it was the wind chill factor was -12 less than 7 days ago, and it's 57 degrees outside right now. So 'tis the season. So anyway, be careful and be mindful. Let's see. Went up to the 3rd annual drone training they had in Indianapolis. I was up there to teach a class for we had a full day up there with search and rescue teams. There's about 67 people in the class. I was pretty happy with that because I think it's probably one of the biggest classes for sure up there, but even across the state that we've had. It was really well attended, and I think it's pretty neat that we're small town Jefferson County, Indianapolis, talking to some people that are, much bigger areas and stuff like that. They're learning some things and they've reached out and are curious about what our program is and how we're running things. So that's been good. Speaking of weather, I've looked at DocuSign and some PDF sign, and there's quite a few of those things. So if I send you one of those declaration letters for everybody to sign a lot bit, I'm trying to find some way to just kind of streamline that. And looking through some of the things today when we switched over at 10:30ish, there is a PDF sign there inside that. You can use that with the Word or PDF documents as well. So we'll figure out how to get that set up. And that's just something we'll subscribe to. We already have that available. So I've not really watched a video about that today or read much about it. But that's forthcoming. So hopefully it'll streamline that process for all of us a lot easier. The Starlink system is here. We've got a permanent mount system for the building here, and then there's a mobile mount system if we need to go somewhere else. If we need to leave the building and take mobile command trailer somewhere, we'll have internet service there. Just coordinating with Ovation about probably the best time is when they move the server up here. That way they're building all the tunnels, whatever they build to talk to all the people they build to talk to, and then build those IP addresses out and all that stuff. So it's here. And if we need to use that, we can put the mobile out and we can plug it into the WAN port like we did with the Mars rover that was out front last time we had an outage. Great meeting with the Red Cross. Good meeting with the Salvation Army about the open shelter up, all that stuff to get people a house and then out of the weather for a warming shelter. So And other than that, I'm sure there's probably some stuff I'm missing. I will say Brandon's done a great job, you know, kind of stepping up and looking for those holes that you know, we just don't know about. And so he's doing well over there. We're helping each other out. He came over and knocked it out of the park with the lady from IPSC, answering some good questions about our radio frequencies and how that plan's going to work with them in dispatch versus everybody out in the county, and how we're going to work through that system, because there'll be some gaps about how we can talk and be that far away with each other and all that bit. So just working the system, and he's been a big help. So I think that's all I got. Do you have something for me?
Thank you.
Just a little bit of insight what I've been working on this week. So in the process of our day-to-day operations, getting some things switched over, like CAD mapping, things that need to be done immediately for like audio recording requests from the prosecutor's office, things like that. So in the process of getting things switched over so we have access to that. There's still some work in progress on that, but we're making some good headway. One thing I've been talking about in the 911 board meetings is recruitment. We're a little bit short on staff. I reached out to Greg Schneider at Ivy Tech. He's invited me to a panel discussion in March. I've reached out to both the high schools, Southwestern and Madison. They have career fairs that they're going to invite us to later on this year. And other than that, there's been a couple of organizations, such as like the State 911 Board and in digital, they're ready to work with the next director, so they're eager and ready and willing to work with them. That's all I got.
You talked to anybody at the Workforce Development Office? I think they're in for sales. Kurt?
Yeah, when I go to the Ivy Tech Career Fair, I think they're the ones that put that on. We actually had one of the, I think, veteran affairs people. They dropped off an application for one of their veterans today. So I hear from them occasionally.
Okay. I talk to them every once in a while. If you're talking to them already, no sense doing anything more, but just maybe another resource for
absolutely
recruitment. So.
Questions?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh,
He volunteered.
you got more? I thought you were already.
Want some more money? Yeah, change hats.
Really?
Ask for more money, yeah.
Nice.
Just a quick update on the revolving loan funds, since we got another income report due. So we started Q3 of 2023 with $13,138.12. Through the quarter, we received $9,625.06 in loan repayments, and we ended the quarter and the year $22,763.18. So number go up. So I got on my list to start checking with the state on how we can wind that down at some point in the future. So, but for right now, just accumulate.
Got a little bit of time to do that.
Yeah, so everybody's current. It's all good. No problems.
Good deal.
Thank you.
I need a signature on that after we're done.
Anybody from the public?
Well, why not?
Well. Oh.
New animal shelter anytime coming soon?
Well,
Or is it thrown away or?
no, I mean, it's one of the ready projects that we submitted, so it's, we won't find out, I mean, April is kind of their call for projects. I mean, we have the design, we have land, we have the cost, so I mean, we're kind of above or in front of most projects with that. Probably won't find out funding wise until later on in the year. I mean, I don't know that that's the only way we build a new animal shelter, but I think that's a way we ought to at least explore right now.
Yeah.
And if it doesn't pan out, then obviously we need to look at some other ways to make that happen, because I don't think anybody would disagree that we don't need a new one.
I don't know how much longer it'll last up there. It's ready to fall apart, I think.
We've been putting Band-Aids on it for years, and I think we still, a little bit.
Yeah,
Okay, we'll just keep putting our Band-Aids until we can get there.
Like I said, we should know more probably in a couple months from Ready to make sure things are good there. And I think, from the rumblings that you hear, they're gonna try to make sure those that didn't get a lot of projects the first round are gonna get some projects the second round. So that would mean that while the city got several, when the county didn't, but this should. And I think Kevin's done a pretty good job of maneuvering the climate or the landscape to get into that, so I feel pretty good about it, so.
Yeah,
we'll
I
see.
thought we were going to push the project quicker with
Well,
the pipes.
sure,
Yeah,
sure.
I was like, oh.
Yeah. You can probably move back.
Sorry.
No, you're fine. Good question. So, anybody else? Do you have anything?
Where's the property at?
So it would be, kind of north and west of the new jail.
Good,
We bought,
that's a great place.
we've got 50 acres total. It'd be behind the tree line that back there. But we thought we could also, it's down the road, but a program for inmates and,
That's wonderful.
because we know we've had a pretty good success with, women's prison and
Yeah.
so. I think they've got, you hate to say it, but they've got nothing but time, and so some of them need something to do, and you give them something to do, and it works out very well, so.
That's positive.
I think so. Either of you guys have anything?
Nope. Good to hear from the LifeSpring people. That's working on our facility here and our treatment training process. Could get an update from her. More coming on our end.
Well, we see those charges and wonder what's happening, so it's good to see that. I know they probably do send it, but it's nice to make contact with someone that, I think it's worthwhile exploring some more to see what other things they can provide. While they did something for kind of the general health, the state doing something for the general health, they also had a mental health bill that passed as well, and so some of the things that she was talking about there, a result of that. Having some of those resources available that have been missing, really, that is a good thing, so.
Quite a few years, over 20. That's all. No.
Good, thanks.
I don't have anything. Other than the move went splendid, as everybody knows. They're in their nice new technologically advanced facility, so it's all positive from here on out. Just, I think Ben's gonna start getting some of the programs ready to use those 2 rooms for education or religion or whatever, so it's all positive in that respect.
Sure, there's gonna be some growing pains, it's a huge, we joked about, getting it finished, and we think once it's finished, all right, everything's, there's 35 miles of wires in there, and you just hope they're all landed in the right spot, and all the, it looked really, really good, and I know there are probably some questions about things, but, it's gonna serve our community very well.
Well, they have room to do something.
Right.
Like their big training room, we can actually have other law enforcement agencies come here and they'll be paying us instead of us having our officers travel and just so many things.
Sure, just to be able to have a
positive.
place to do some training,
Yes.
Just a huge thing.
And like 2 classrooms under control can be used for various things.
Yeah, even just what Dr. Keeney was talking about, trying to treat someone in our previous facility would have been a nightmare. Yeah, and so now they have some places to.
Yeah.
And you don't with the available space, they don't have to go back into general population. Maybe you give them a place to segregate, and you gotta believe that there's gonna be some positives from that.
Well, it's, to me, an atmosphere that a person under that stress could find a way to respond instead of locked up and forgotten, so. Anyway, I'm happy to say that.
I don't have any, I think, like I said, we'll, on the stormwater front, kind of looking at what talking a little bit with the city to find out what their schedule is for completing their requirements, so we can kind of make sure that, especially in the buffer zone, that the ordinances are gonna match up and we don't have one ordinance saying it's gotta do this way and then another ordinance saying you gotta do it that way, and so, just to make sure we're on the same page. And, so part of the other thing that comes out of that is a kind of a standards document that will say, okay, if you're gonna develop something, you've gotta have a certain stormwater plan to retain, you know, if you take away places where water was gonna silk into the ground, or you gotta do something with that, and how quickly you can let that water out. So it's not just, okay, it comes in and goes out at the same rate.
Run it over on the neighbors.
Yeah, so, it'll be some help there. That's it.
I make a motion to adjourn.
He's paying attention this time.
I will second
I was
that
reading
motion.
well.
All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Thanks for coming.